Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are across this great wide world of ours. I haven't done a video on Native Americans and been quite busy with some things. And, um, it doesn't change my mind about that we should be out of the reservation business. I received an email a couple of weeks back from somebody concerning uh, about being on a committee or something concerning the BIA Bureau of Indian Affairs. Haven't heard back about it, and I think some of this has got to do with the Trump administration. Not saying hey or nay, but I am a registered Republican, so the the issue for me is that, and it goes back to what I've said before, and I sent that letter out to quite a few of the congressional leaders in Washington that excuse me that we need to get out of the reservation business, and just the fact of that you want to cut funding, that is a good place to cut funding. And I think what happens here, and I was watching something I don't know, on YouTube or something, and came across that when you get into the federal government like that, you get into people's sertums or fetums, or part of what they consider part of their niche, or not niche, but part of what they're responsible for. And the issue becomes not necessarily what I'm trying to reflect on this, not necessarily what this is important to the native tribes, but what's important necessarily for their careers, and that's better. Felt like I had big red cheeks. And the the issue becomes, and then I need to upgrade all this stuff eventually somewhere down the line. Uh, is the when I mean by upgrading this computer, and the lighting and everything. Excuse me. The issue becomes, what do we do about you know this? And then I've been doing some work with water quality, and recently I just finished up book, Water Quality on the Reservation, and the issue becomes that I honestly believe that I've said it 4 times already, that the government should, because of the fact of the historical drama and the misunderstandings uh, and mistrust by many Native American tribes, that maybe it would be behoove the federal government to just to get out of the business altogether, and to move forward on creating self autonomy, self for the tribes themselves. But there again, I think some of this has to do with federal power within your jurisdiction, and not necessarily what is and I always believe in the police power. What's good, what is good for the good and welfare for the American people. And when we see this, the good and welfare for the American people, I honestly believe the good and welfare of uh, uh, for the good America is to disband the an antiquated system that was founded by John C. Calhoun in the 1830s, and get rid of the system, and just create self autonomy and self uh, places for the and I was doing some study on some oil and gas law, and now Osage tribes, out in Oklahoma, where they became rich because of in the 1930s because of oil and etc. But a lot of these tribes, don't have that opportunity. Granted, we did the casinos, and there again, I wrote about casinos and the diminishing return. as we look into the Gen Zs and the Gens, millennials, they're not really interested in the gambling or going on the Native Americans reservation to gamble. The gambling thing, I think, turns out to be more of a boomer thing. Generation boomers and great generation, and not necessarily a thing for uh, future generations. But there again, we go back to what I've said before, that the United States needs to get out of the native, get out of the reservation business. So anyway, my point here is what I want to make is that as a society, we supposed to better people, and so uh, the goal here, like I said, is to get out of the Native American business and leave that self autonomy up to the tribes themselves, and let the tribes or the tribal leaders make those decisions, and not necessarily the federal government. Granted, a lot of these decisions they have to bypass the federal government, because when you go on federal lands, it's like tribal lands. That becomes the federal government. And there again, who owns majority of the land land west of the Mississippi? The federal government, and a lot of that land was turned over or sold, given to tribes, or even sold. It would be or allotted to the states. There would be a lot more. But there again goes back to what I said. We would get federal people that would probably be without a job, but is that is that necessarily a bad thing? So anyway, I will try to be more diligent about making videos. But anyway, please like and subscribe my channel. But please feel to reach out to me at bthomasmillerpsych@gmail.com. I'm really working on an initiative called Clean and Safe Water, especially in the American Southwest. So please reach out to me concerning that, and hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.